I'll take that key, Mr. Hardman. If you don't give it to me, I can have a couple of the train's staff take it from you.
I'd like to see them try.
Would you really? What were you doing going through Michelle's belongings?
Your job.
You know I am assisting Monsieur Poirot.
Sure. Begin the interrogation.
What is your profession?
I'm a salesman. Typewriting ribbons.
Do you always travel first class, Monsieur Hardman?
Sure. The firm pays my traveling expenses.
What were you doing outside Monsieur Ratchet's window?
Okay, there were footprints there. Man's shoe, but not a large one. Size 7, maybe. I followed the tracks, then it looked like whoever made them put on some snowshoes and headed out over that deep snow near the back of the train.
What can you tell me about the murder?
Nothing at all.
That is a pity. Where is your destination?
Paris.
And from there?
New York.
I would like to take your fingerprints.
I guess it's okay.
Perhaps, Monsieur Hardman, you could tell me why I found a blackjack, or sap as I believe it's called, in your suitcase?
How do you know what it's called?
Crime is a hobby of mine.
Yeah? Well, why don't you try knitting instead? You people are serious about this investigation, aren't you?
Of course. You have heard of Monsieur Poirot?
Yeah, I have. I think I better come clean, or I could find myself in a lot of hot water here.
I would advise you to come clean.
Okay, I don't know anything, like I said. But I ought to know something. That's what makes me sore. I ought to. My passport's a bit of a bluff. That's who I really am.
Please explain.
I showed up at the appointed time. Ratchet put me wise to the situation.
The threatening letters?
Yeah, he showed me 2 of them.
Did Monsieur Ratchet seem alarmed by the letters?
Pretended not to be, but he was rattled all right.
Did he have any idea who the letters were from?
Well, Ratchet described him to me.
What?
Sure. Said he was a small man, dark, with a kind of womanish voice.
What instructions did he give you?
I was to travel by the same train he did to Paris and see that nobody got him. That's the thing. I did travel by the same train, and in spite of me, somebody did get him. I feel sore about that. Doesn't look any too good for me.
Did Monsieur Ratchet not tell you the man's name?
Nope.
Ratchet was Cassetti, the Armstrong murderer.
No kidding. Should have recognized him. I mean, I suppose I saw photos of him in the papers and everything. Well, that explains it. Cassetti made a lot of enemies in the American underworld. He often skipped when the heat was on, leaving his partners in crime to face the music. Some assassin finally caught up with him. Say, I've really fallen down on this thing. And with a famous detective like Mr. Poirot on the case, too. This won't do my rep any good with my boss, Mr. McNeil, if it gets back to him.
I'm in the same predicament, Monsieur Hardman, believe me.
You are? Well, that's good. I mean, bad for you, but... Say, listen. If we could keep the mess I've made out of this thing between ourselves...
I must tell Monsieur Poirot everything.
Oh, sure. I'll have to swallow my professional pride there, but if we can keep it on this side of the Atlantic, maybe, I'd really appreciate it.
I'll see what I can do. Do you know anyone connected with the Armstrong case who matches the description Monsieur Ratchet gave you?
Well, that's hard to say. They're mostly dead, aren't they?
Yes. Mrs. Armstrong, Colonel Armstrong, the nursemaid who threw herself out a window.
I remember now. The nursemaid was suspected. She killed herself even though she was eventually cleared.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. Snow is very bright. So, yeah, that nursemaid was a foreigner, I think. Maybe she had some foreign relations or something. But that wasn't the first time Cassetti had run that kidnapping stunt. I bet there are lots of people had it in for him.
Please tell me your movements after dinner last night.
I played some cards with that Italian guy at the front on the coach. Then when people started turning in, I went back to my room. Stayed up all night. Had my door a bit ajar so I could keep watch. But nobody could see me. You get it?
I understand how it is done, yes. Did you see anyone moving up and down the passage?
Nope.
Could you see the attendant from that position?
Sure. He sits on that little seat right past my room.
Can you describe his movements?
Let's see. He answered a couple of bells after the snow stopped us. Went back into the rear coach for 10 minutes or so. Then there was a bell ringing like mad, and he came running back. I got a bit nervous over that, but it was just that talkative American dame raising hell about something or other. Bit later, he headed off to make somebody's bed up. Then he settled in.
Is there anyone on the train who can confirm your identity?
My credentials are taped to the bottom of the table in my compartment, along with my real passport. I'm sure you can find them.
Do you smoke, Monsieur Hardman?
Sure. I've got some cigarettes in my room. Come on by this evening after things quiet down. I can be far more entertaining than that mouse of a woman in your room.
No,